a different vibe that is starting in Baton Rouge right now. I know that you feel it because I feel it. You know, you go out a couple of days ago, actually you go out about a week ago today, and you really start solidifying the future of your program. You know, a week ago today, Lane Kiffin was coaching in the Egg Bowl, a little more than a week. But it was about a week ago today that Verge Osbury was solidifying the future of the program. And you bring in Lane Kiffin to be your next head coach. So when you hire him, you bring him in, all the things that have been said, you know where you're about to go. So Lane Kiffin walks to a podium after being announced as LSU's head coach, and he's asked a question by Koki Riley of The Advocate, I believe, or whoever it was. And he says, the number one goal right now is to lock down this recruiting class. The goal right now is to get arguably the best defensive line that this school might have ever recruited and to lock them down. We got a lot of work to do. But the second thing is that we got to keep elite coaches. And last night, as Tulane was playing for a conference championship and quite honestly a playoff spot, Lane Kiffin's able to hold on to one of the most elite defensive coordinators in all of the land in Blake Baker. He's able to probably and more than likely hold on to majority of his defensive staff. But he's not done. Because earlier in the week, he brought in what might be not only one of the best recruiting defensive line coaches in Elijah Robinson, not finalized yet, but moving towards what might be one of the most elite staffs on both sides of the ball in the country. So when something like that happens, when you get the best offensive mind in all of college football to be your head coach, and your head coach is going out there on social media saying, yeah, Ole Miss, your offensive coordinator right now, he's coming here with me as soon as your playoff run is over. And you hold off Tulane, you hold off Memphis for what might be, again, one of the best defensive coordinators in all of the land, along with majority of the staff. The vibes start changing now around Baton Rouge because of everything that Lane Kiffin is doing. It is a complete night and day difference of what is happening right now with Lane Kiffin. You see him tweeting at 5 a.m., 4:30 a.m. in the morning, that he's doing what needs to be done to make this place great. You know, Lane keeps going out there and tweeting a hashtag saying, hashtag just different, because it is. Ole Miss fans, national media that we talked about, and I know that he's not going to Atlanta on College Game Day, and good on Lane, because they've been talking all kinds of Rudy poo. Good on Lane. But the vibes start changing because now you start seeing this as, wait a minute, man. You got an elite defensive staff. You got one of the best, maybe arguably the best offensive staff in the country, and it starts giving you hope of where this direction and where this place is going. You have a head coach going out there saying that the new athletic director is saying, listen, Lane, do what you need to do to go win national titles and tell me what you need, and we're going to go and get it done. You know, for the first time, probably since 2019, the feeling and the vibes that I feel, and I know that you feel right now, is LSU is showing who they are. LSU is coming to the table and telling you who they are. See, it's easy when seasons happen for people to forget who exactly you are and what exactly this place can be. Well, right now, guys, you can make one of the arguments that you have one of the best staffs holistically on both sides of the ball. Now it's time to go and get the players that can execute that plan for you. Nevertheless, we're live. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. Share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell, wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe. Every AYS Sports show is brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Download the FD Sportsbook app today if you're on Apple or Android iPhone. If for whatever reason you're living inside of the state of Missouri, FanDuel is now live in the great state of Missouri. So download the app today. Use your mobile device to do it. You can bet all of the championship games today. SEC, Big 10, Big 12, ACC, all of them. You can go and place those bets today with our good friends over at FanDuel. You have any thoughts, questions, concerns? You want to set preferences and limits to what you can bet and the bets that you can place? Go to FanDuel.com/RG for more details. Be a reliable gambler today. And I love that FanDuel has that in place. And there's a big reason why we've partnered with them this college football season. Oh, yeah, and beyond. So we're gladly partnered and powered by our good friends over at FanDuel. All right. Got a lot of things we got to get to here. Blake Baker staying. We will lead off with that today. Elijah Robinson, as we're live, this could be going down, and I need you all in the chat to tell us when this goes down. I feel very confident about where LSU stands with Elijah Robinson right now, so we'll talk about that today or this morning here as well. We'll break down the entire defensive staff, what we think is going on there, and oh, by the way, you had a massive Friday. So that is on the agenda today. If you want to be a part of the show, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can become a member on the YouTube channel. Over 1,000 of you have now become members on the YouTube channel. I can't thank you enough. We greatly appreciate it. Some of you have seen what that content is like, and I think a lot of you have liked it. That is why a lot of you have become members. You should become a member on the YouTube channel. We are taking super chats. You have thoughts, questions, concerns, you're fired up, whatever it is, you can send in super chats, and at the end of the show here, we will get to those. Again, do us a favor. There's only a couple of things that I ask. Number one, if you're on YouTube, like 59, it's gone down a little bit, but 59% of you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel. Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button right down below. We don't charge you anything for it unless you become a member, but hit that subscribe button down below. You get all the notifications for all of the content that we're publishing here, and it just helps us. Every time that you hit that subscribe button, it just helps me, and it helps our team grow. So I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. We got a lot to get into, so let's get into it. All right. So last night it was announced and confirmed by Lane Kiffin that LSU defensive coordinator Blake Baker is going to be staying after being courted by Tulane in Memphis. The new contract is going to make Blake Baker one of, if not the highest paid defensive coordinators in the country, over $3 million per year for a guy who completely revamped and retooled your defense after Matt House left. He's going to be paid probably in around a base of $3 million with massive amounts of incentives that will be a part of his contract. Now, we all know what Blake Baker did this past season, so let's walk into this very quickly. Guys, when Matt House was fired, you were in a situation where defensively, coming off of a season where you had the most electric offense in the country in 2023, you went into Missouri and actually kind of taught Blake Baker a thing or two about Jane Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and all that stuff. But 2023, you were not even remotely close to being in a place where you were even identifiable of a program and what you had built over two generations on defense. Matt House did not work. This staff defensively didn't work, and you replaced everybody. You go in, and Scott Woodward, who really had a hand in bringing in Blake Baker, who was probably the best move that Scott Woodward had made. Blake Baker comes in, and he brings along some people with him, and Kevin Peoples, and your safeties coach, and Jake Olson. And what LSU and Blake Baker has done over the last two seasons is nothing short of completely amazing. Now, this season, LSU defensively was completely night and day from what we saw 2 years ago. You know it. I know it. We've seen it. And the kind of ironic truth is they could have been a lot better. You know, where you were in 2023 kind of flipped on its head a little bit to where you were defensively 2 years later. Because this was and is one of the best overall defenses in the entire country, but they didn't have the help that they needed. You know, I think about what you did in 2023 and the complete opposite, the yin and yang of this, of what Blake Baker did in the turnaround. Like this season, you're 25th in the country in total defense. You're 27th in the country in rushing defense. You're one of the best teams in the country on third down, only giving up a third on conversions on third down. You're 15th in the country in scoring defense. And oh, and by the way, in the red zone, you're 5th in the country in not allowing points and not allowing touchdowns. And you led the SEC in interceptions with games like Florida and picking off DJ Lagway 5 times, but you led the SEC in interceptions. The only, I guess, thing that you could say that they were bad at was they probably needed to get after the passer a little bit more, but they did give up some yards, but they picked the ball off a lot. The complete revamp was 1,000% needed, and Blake Baker did it when they went out in the portal and they got a lot of really good talent, and yet this Friday, they completely rebuilt that by going out and recruiting from the high school ranks a very elite and talented defensive line. What you've done in the last week is nothing short of amazing. But Blake Baker is one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. I look at the numbers and I look at all of the things that you did this season, and it begs the question of a couple of things. If LSU defensively would have had any help whatsoever from their offense this year, just how much better could they have been? Like, defenses always have quote-unquote off days. Like, what if your offense was able to sustain drives versus Vanderbilt? What if they were able to sustain some drives versus Alabama? What if they were able to sustain some drives versus Oklahoma? What if they were able to sustain some drives versus any team this season that they lost to, like Ole Miss? You know, I think that Blake Baker, Lane Kiffin looks at Blake Baker and says, hey, man, if you couple my offense and what the things that we're going to do offensively based off of what I've gone through the last 2 years and just how good of a play caller Blake Baker was against my defense, we could really get rolling here. We could really get rolling. So, yeah, LSU is the 25th in the country in total defense, one of the best defensive units in all of the country, turning around from being 108th in the country to top 25. But my question is, guys, my thought is, guys, you were so much better than that, but offensively you were so bad that your defense was on the field so much. Like, I can make the argument that this year's LSU defense was a top 10, whether it's statistically speaking or whether it's just a talent speaking, that you might have been one of the top 10 units in all of the land defensively, but offensively you were just so bad they didn't give you a chance. But we need to get to what happened, because during the entire week, you had early signing day with guys that could have easily flipped, with a defensive coordinator that was being highly courted by Tulane and Memphis and all of these teams that wanted his services. And yet again, LSU put their head down and just wouldn't take no for an answer. Now, I am sure that when Blake Baker goes to the podium, whenever that is the next time, he's going to talk about his family and his family wanting to be here and that being a big deal for him. And I'm sure that it was. Money's money. But LSU did exactly what they needed to do to keep him. And you're not just keeping him, guys. You're keeping Kevin Peoples. You're more than likely, and I would just assume here, let's see how it all plays out. I'm assuming on the Corey Raymond bit that I'm about to say here, I'm assuming that you're keeping Corey Raymond. I don't know what you do with Jake Olson. I don't know what happens with Lane Kiffin's brother and Chris Kiffin. Like, I don't know if he has a role. Like, all of that, guys, I just don't know. But I have been told that you're going to keep a lot of this defensive staff, and keeping Blake Baker, keeping Kevin Peoples, and keeping more than likely Corey Raymond. It's a massive deal. You know, the only things that I had here, the only two things that I had when Lane came in here is you got to keep Blake Baker if you can, and you got to keep Corey Raymond. And more than likely, you're doing both. More than likely, you're doing both. So I started off today talking about, guys, you look at the offensive side of the ball. You look at the defensive side of the ball, and I say this. As good as Blake Baker was this season, as good as this defense was this season, as bad as their offense was, and how much the defense had to overcompensate for your offense, now that you couple Blake Baker with Lane Kiffin, whose offenses are not going to suck, we talk about the vibes. We talk about the future. We talk about all of these things that LSU can be. And it gives you ungodly amount of hope. It gives you ungodly amount of security in where you are moving forward. It gives you the thought process of, look, man, we just saw Blake Baker have a top 25 defense with an offense that was one of the worst, if not, they weren't the worst in the SEC, but one of the bottom third offenses in the SEC, and you just hired Lane Kiffin to fix that. Yeah, you should feel really good about where you are. I think the best core nucleus of talent right now is in your corner room. I think I look at corner and say, look, man, Corey's got DJ Pickett. PJ Woodland likely returns. Now, you bring in Haven Finney. Do you do something else in the portal? The level of talent now that you have there, that core nucleus, now that I would assume, again, assume that Corey Raymond stays, it's a massive deal. Oh, and Blake Baker keeps his right-hand man in Kevin Peoples, who, quite frankly, this sack production, yes, needs to go up. And I think that will get better. Because the physicality that you had at the edge position was night and day different from 2023 as well. It's a big deal, man. In a week, you pretty much have your entire staff almost completed. Now, I don't know what you completely do at running back. We'll see if they confirm some things along the offensive line here, as they've already brought in some pieces, but we'll see when that gets solidified. But really and truthfully, it would appear that Kyle Williams wants to move on, and we'll get to Elijah Robinson in a minute. And I feel very confident where that's going. Because I look at the defensive side of the football, which Lane Kiffin gives a lot of autonomy to. You know, I'm sure in the cell, actually, I'll just say it now that this is pretty much over. I was told a couple of things in reference to what Lane Kiffin told Blake Baker. I was told that Lane told him, listen, man, it's not that I'm not going to give you help. It's not that I'm not going to give you guidance, but I give a lot of autonomy and I give a lot of leeway to my coaches and my coordinators defensively because I am focused in on the offensive side of the football. It's not that I'm not going to give suggestions and overall do things, but you're going to have a lot of autonomy here. And as a fan, I look at that and say, so you gave him and made him one of the highest paid coordinators in the country. You're giving him a lot of autonomy. You're bringing in a lot of elite players. The decision for Blake Baker is a really simple one right now. You know, I look at this situation too and say to myself, when Lane Kiffin sells and lands on not only 4 big-time defensive linemen, but his defensive coordinator and most of his core staff members, the one thing that I say to myself is simple. This is a home run. It's a home run. It also brings up a thought process to me, too, of what this defense looked like post Brian Kelly. You know, Brian Kelly is fired at the end of October, and there's a lot of chaos that surrounds. And you look in the month of November and the teams that you played. Guys, you played 2 playoff teams in Alabama and Oklahoma. You faced a top 10 offense, statistically speaking, in Arkansas And quite frankly, you shut them down defensively, all three of them. And that if you had any glimmer of hope, any small, itsy-bitsy glimmer of hope offensively, guys, you would have cleaned up and cleaned house in the month of November. Blake Baker's defense got better post Brian Kelly. So we talk about Lane Kiffin and giving his defensive coordinators and his history the autonomy to do what they want and to be free to do what they want and be the play callers that they want to be. And then I look at Blake Baker post Brian Kelly and go, how did you get better? Because, guys, statistically speaking, they did. LSU post Brian Kelly this season got better. Guys, they were top 35 in the country in total defense. They were top 10 in the country post Brian Kelly being fired, playing 2 playoff teams. That's what you look at and say, well, did Blake Baker, did he get some hands tied behind him on the game plan of what Brian Kelly wanted to do? And when he got fired, Blake Baker's handcuffs came off and you were downhill. Guys like Harold Perkins got better because you can't deny that post Brian Kelly being fired, that guys like Harold Perkins didn't get better, that your secondary didn't get better, because you did. It is a massive day. It's a massive situation, and it's a great time to be an LSU Tiger. Guys, I could easily make the what, Brandon? When it confirms, just retweet it from the AYS account. Yes, just retweet it. Okay, thank you. Now you made me lose my train of thought. All right. Oh, guys, I could easily make the argument that now with Lane Kiffin and his staff offensively, you bring in George McDonald, you bring in Charlie Weiss Jr., you orchestrate what you've done offensively. I think Lane Kiffin just alone, right, from an offensive perspective and from an offensive game plan and from an offensive side of things, it's a big deal just to have Lane Kiffin. You couple Lane Kiffin and Blake Baker together along with both staffs, guys, I think I could come out here and make the argument that you have a top 5 staff in the country. On both sides of the ball, you can make the argument that, guys, quite simply, you have all around and holistically arguably one of the best staffs in the country and one of the best staffs in the SEC. It is a great day to be a Tiger. It's a great day because what you just pulled off is nothing short of amazing. Now, let's move on here because we need to get to some staff stuff. Look, I fully expect – I don't think that this is it. I mean, I'm pretty much sure we can lock this in. As I take a sip of coffee there. We can pretty much lock it in that Kevin Peoples is probably and more than likely going to stay at edge. I don't know what they do with Chris Kiffin. Look, it's his brother, man. And listen, your brother's your brother. I don't know what they do there. Maybe they move into safety. Maybe Jake Olson moves on. I don't know. We will see. I don't know what they're going to do with his brother. Maybe he's an analyst. I mean, guys, I just don't know. But you look at the defensive staff and say Kevin Peoples is going to more than likely stay. You got Blake Baker at linebacker, hypothetically speaking. I would expect Corey Raymond to stay. And if all else fails, Jake Olson will stay, even if it's not Chris Kiffin or what you do there. So your staff defensively is pretty much locked in. Maybe you have to make some moves here and there, and we will talk about that if and when it happens. But it was reported a couple of days ago, and we need to talk about this, that Lane Kiffin brought in Elijah Robinson. Elijah Robinson was a defensive coordinator at Syracuse under Fran Brown, who just got, quote-unquote, demoted this past week. Elijah Robinson had been the interim head coach and was a defensive line coach and co-coordinator at Texas A&M when they brought in that elite recruiting class with Jimbo Fisher. You know, the biggest lie about A&M in the last couple of years under Jimbo Fisher was that they weren't a good team defensively, because they were a really good team defensively. They reminded me a lot of you, where offensively they were just very anemic, but defensively they were really stout. Because Elijah Robinson, who will be more than likely, if he comes to LSU, your defensive line coach, maybe you throw in a co-coordinator in there, who knows, just for title implications. But Elijah Robinson is one of the best recruiters in the country, and he's one of the best developers in the country. Guys, if you go out and get E-Rob, and a lot of you know the tenure of what he is and what he's done, guys, you are going to knock this one out of the park. You add E-Rob to your defensive line, and you look at Blake Baker, Kevin Peoples, you look at Elijah Robinson, Corey Raymond, you look at Jake Olson, you look at Lance Guidry and Chris Kiffin. Guys, you can make the argument that's one of the best defensive staffs holistically in the entire country. Now, bringing in E-Rob, and I know that Lane Kiffin brought this up today, so let's get to it. Lane Kiffin tweeted this morning at like 5 a.m. that, look, we locked down Blake Baker and we're trying to lock down another one. It's the reason why I can't make it to game day. Number one, go lock him down, because quite honestly, we're just winning so much that I don't even remember what it feels like to lose at this point. But I feel very confident in where things are going with Elijah Robinson and LSU, of him being your defensive line coach. You just brought in 4 very, very good defensive linemen, 3 along the interior, and Deuce Geralds, Lamar Brown, and the number 1 defensive tackle in the country in Richard Anderson. What I think is going to come out here, and I would prepare yourself for this, not that it's a bad thing to prepare yourself with, but what you probably should prepare for is the story that you're going to hear in reference to what Lane Kiffin sold these defensive recruits. Yes, negotiations happened. Yes, there were some things that were happening behind the scenes that shouldn't have happened, but they did, and you held on there. But in the conversations that were happening with these recruits, they all told Richard Anderson, Lamar Brown, and everybody, and they told you publicly. Coach Kiffin told us he's bringing the best defensive line coach in the country in. Now you're courting and trying to bring in Elijah Robinson, who is one of the best, and that would get and will get a lot of really freaking good recruits to come here and develop them from within. Kyle Williams seems like he just doesn't want to do this anymore. I don't blame him. Kyle did an amazing job in the interior defensive line. Ask Jacoby and Guillory. Your defensive line interior-wise was arguably the most improved all season, and you're bringing in another elite defensive line, defensive tackles coach. Considering the money that LSU is going to start spending in NIL, you could suspect that your defensive line continue to take another step when it comes to recruiting. And you got to go and do it, because E-Rob can bring him in if you give him the right resources and the right tools. You got to do it along the offensive line too, right? Like, you got to bring the offensive lineman in here that can really – guys, I think you have tools along the offensive line. Like, I like Tyree Adams. I like Carius Kern. Let's see what Solomon Thomas can be. You got a chance there. You got some good pieces if you can hold on to them. I think anybody that enters the portal from the offensive side that isn't just like told by the staff to not be there, they are idiots to leave. They are being guided in a wrong light. If you leave LSU off and you're an offensive guy right now, don't do it. The people advising you would be so ill-advised to advise you to move on. I mean, I could go on that for days. But your offensive line-wise, you got to be a lot better, and you got to bring in a lot of better players on that side of the football. So I feel really good about where E-Rob is and where E-Rob sits. You add him, you pretty much have locked down your entire defensive staff. You need a running backs coach. You need to solidify publicly what you're doing along the offensive line. And, guys, you're pretty much done. You're pretty much done. So now you get to a spot where over the next couple of days, you start prepping yourself for number one, what you need, meaning what I need along the offense, what do I need along the defense, and now you go out there and you completely attack the portal. This is amazing, man. And I thought I saw Cobble tweet this, and I think he's 1,000% right. All LSU fans wanted was to see their head coach out there working his ass off. And I did not know what we were getting in Lane Kiffin, because you see Lane Kiffin, you look at him, you see him from afar, and you're like, hey, man, great offense, character on social media. You don't know what you're going to get. And all I've seen from Lane Kiffin over the last week is him working his ass off to make this place the best that it can be. I see a head coach that is going out and retained arguably the best defensive line room that you've recruited, maybe ever, but maybe in a long time. I see him retaining on the defensive staff. I see him going out and trying to get, as at the current moment, but I feel very confident about where this stands. He's going out there and trying to get the best defensive line coach in the country and best recruiter developer in Elijah Robinson. You're keeping a lot of the core defensive staff intact. Corey Raymond's room right now is one of the best in the SEC. All I see for Lane Kiffin right now is production, things that he's trying to do, and him closing and them actually working. And I'm seeing him wake up at 4:30 every morning and grind his ass off to make LSU the best place that it can be. It fires me up because we talked about during this entire process, when Brian Kelly got fired, I felt like that you needed to go and get your swag back. I felt like you had been swagless. There was no swag surfing. We weren't in the stands hitting the Dougie like we were Patty Mayonnaise. We did not have the pulse that this place, everyone knows that it can be generated and what we could do nationally. And then within a week, Lane Kiffin, with his work, determination, and the way that he closed, has changed that perception. Yeah, I'm fired up. Now, I think a lot of things can be true at once. So we talk about all that. Guys, you got a little bit of a rebuild you got to do. You could go out in the portal and dominate and be like, yeah, this team could be dangerous. We have no idea what they're going to be able to do in the portal. None. But you locked down the first two steps of what you needed to do. You've locked down the recruiting class and the core nucleus of guys that you needed. You've locked down your defensive staff, which is what you needed. And now you need to go and get the players to bring them in here to get you where you ultimately want to go, and that's the college football playoff. That is to a national title. And all I keep seeing from my new head coach is he's out there working his ass off. So for everything, all the shit that goes out there, you look at Lane Kiffin from afar and you don't know really what to expect until you start getting into the inner weeds of this. All I see from Lane Kiffin right now over this last week is closing people, closing coaches, closing recruits, bringing in top dudes, retaining top dudes. Oh, and by the way, getting the best defense and holding on the best defensive line class in all of recruiting. All I see is him waking up at 4:30, going to hot yoga, posting a devotional, going to Rogue Nutrition, and working his ass off and going to social media and telling you, this is what we're about to do, and we're going to go and do it. And then he does it. It's the only thing that we've asked from Brian Kelly the last 4 years. He's done all of it in a week. Great time to be alive. All right. Last thing before we get to some super chats here and some of your thoughts, questions, concerns. No way. No, Iowa State hired somebody, Brandon. Did somebody in the comments put that? That man ain't going to Iowa State. Somebody just said Coach O to Iowa State head coach. No. They already hired somebody. They move really quickly. All right. Let me move on to this before we get to comments, thoughts, questions, super chats, all that stuff. Look, man, LSU had a massive Friday in recruiting. You're able, well, and I throw Friday in there, Thursday too with Richard Anderson, right? Wednesday too with Richard Anderson because Thursday was official that he had signed. But you had a massive day yesterday. Holding on to a guy like Deuce Gerald, who I think is one of the top 5, if not top 3 defensive linemen in the country. You hold on to Lamar Brown, you hold on to Richard Anderson, you hold on to Trenton Henderson. You know, we've been talking about this defensive line, guys, and I look at this and I'm like, wait, you got the number 1 athlete, basically the number 1 defensive lineman in the country, in Lamar Brown. You got the number 2 defensive lineman in the country in Richard Anderson. And guys, Deuce Gerald's per on 3 is at number 3. So wait a minute. Just hold on. You mean to tell me that a lot of these guys postponed their signings? Lane Kiffin comes in and recloses everybody, and you got the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3 defensive tackles, defensive linemen in the country, along with a top 5 edge rusher. Yeah, that is insane. You need to start doing that along the offensive line, and I think, going into next year's recruiting class, you can. I've seen a lot of people from Ole Miss, Pete Golding flipped a dude from LSU. Guys, a couple of these guys got processed, and they don't know what they're talking about. They're so cute when they try. Ole Miss is very cute when they try. I've been covering this team since 2017. And I don't remember you recruiting a better position unit like that coming out of high school than what you just did. You can say, well, Blake, what about that wide receiver room and Terrace Marshall, Jamar Chase? Yeah, that was pretty insane too. Because when you put in work at this place, it sells itself. You have the money, you have the resources, you have the coaching. Now it's just time to go out there and show the world that you can do it. And you proved it to 4 people yesterday. You proved it to 4 people that you can get the job done at an elite level. All Lane Kiffin is doing right now, let me just say this too. Well, I put it in a rally pillow. The last 48 hours in recruiting was one of the craziest that I can remember. Whether people want to admit this or not, it's true. Some of the things that were going on behind the scenes, we're going to leave that there. But the way that you closed on guys that teams were trying to poach. Guys, Texas was going all in on Richard Anderson. Auburn was going all in on Trenton Henderson. Georgia Tech and others, Ole Miss included, were going all in on Deuce Gerald's. Lamar Brown was trying to be poached by everybody, and they didn't go anywhere. So let me just say this. Yes, was the foundation laid for Lane Kiffin with a lot of those guys? Yes, the foundation was laid. He closed. I call him the Harvey Specter of SEC coaches this week. He's the Harvey Specter. Now, if you've never seen the TV series Suits, I highly suggest you do it. It's a really good TV series. But I'm giving this one to Lane Kiffin the way that he closed. The argument was, well, man, if you don't have a lot of Louisiana connections, you're not going to be able to get these Louisiana guys. Now, what are you going to say about it? A lot of you chirped up this week. If you don't keep Frank Wilson, you're not going to get those players to sign. Well, they didn't tell anybody that Frank Wilson was staying, and they landed him anyway. Now, that is confirmed. I'm not guessing. Nobody's been told that Frank Wilson is staying, and they landed. They landed. Now what? I think LSU people, for what it's worth, I think that LSU people need to re-understand what they just did and who Lane Kiffin is? Do we understand who he is and what he can do? Do we grasp the can we grasp and magnify who he is and what he is? Guys, do we forget what he did at USC from the recruiting level? Guys like Lane Kiffin. Let me tell you one of the biggest lies about Lane Kiffin. One of the biggest lies about Lane Kiffin is that he doesn't people don't. Oh, he's not a recruiter. He doesn't get involved. What about now? What about now? Because he brought in some of the top classes at USC. He takes the Saban approach. He takes the Pete Carroll approach. Position coaches recruit. We get involved now in NIL and money. And when it's time to close, here comes daddy. Pause. But here comes daddy. What else do you want? He went up to the podium on Monday and said, we are going to bring the top players in the country in here. Well, you just did. And I'm going to tell you this right now. I have this feeling inside my bones. Guys, you're about to go out there and dominate that portal too. You're going to have to go get some offensive linemen. You're going to have to go get some receivers. You know, the next time that Lane Kiffin's at the podium, I will be in attendance. Because I thought there was a lot that happened in the press conference. The initial intro press conference. Lane Kiffin should have been asked, look, you just played this team. You probably scouted and saw a lot of film on games with LSU this year. Where do you think that you sit right now? What do you think right now on this year's team right now? What excuse me. Coach, what do you think right now are your biggest strengths? What are your biggest weaknesses? What do you need to go and attack? Lane has got to be asked that. Now, I know some of you have done this. I need you to do it again because it's starting to work. Trust me, it's starting to work. And I hope this part gets clipped and put on social media. Listen to me. If I'm Trades Green, if I'm Harlan Berry, if I'm Caden Durham, if I'm Carius Kern, if I am Teron Francis, a.k.a. Manchild, if I'm Phillip Wright, if I'm a lot of these players offensively, guys, you better not even remotely come close to entertaining that portal. Trades Green with Lane Kiffin is going to be as deadly as it comes. I don't think that there is a better benefactor of Lane Kiffin next year coming to Baton Rouge and being the head coach more than Trades Green. Nobody is a better benefactor than him. Harlan Berry, do not leave. You just strapped yourself on the Lane Kiffin rocket ship. Trades Green, you just strapped yourself in to the Lane Kiffin rocket ship, and you're about to take off. Don't let people that are out there in your ear right now, because they are, you know it and I know it, don't let them persuade you to what this guy's about to make you and make this offense and make this program. Don't do it. Money's going to be money. If someone's offering you an extra $100,000, it's not worth Trades Green, you going somewhere else when Lane Kiffin, by the way, have you seen what he's done with tight ends? Newsflash. Have you seen it? Harlan Berry, Caden Durham. Newsflash. His running back leads the SEC in touchdowns. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right. LSU Monster says we need a gift shop. I've told y'all this. If somebody wants to be a part of our team, if any of you want to be a part of AYS and you want to run a merch store for us and you can design it, we will have a conversation. I have no desire to do it. Come be a part of the team. let me just say it like this. We'll have negotiations, but I'll make it worth your while. I 1,000% will make it worth your while. I promise you that. All right, Brandon, we got any news coming out? Yeah, I'm expecting, I mean, look, man, I feel very confident about where things sit with E-Rob unless something happens at the end here. Unless something happens at the end. So we'll see. All right. Let's get to a couple of these. Idaho Tiger says, like, subscribe, comment, and share to AYS Talk Yo Shizite. This has been a fun couple of days, no doubt. Keep killing it with the content. First off, Idaho Tiger, thank you so much. Yes, everyone hit that subscribe button down below. 59% of you are not subscribed to the channel. Hit that subscribe button down below. If you want to help us out with something else too, go download the FD Sportsbook app. FanDuel is the number one sportsbook app inside the state of Louisiana for a reason. Download it today. But yes, everybody hit that like and subscribe. Idaho said something here that I want to bring up. It has been very fun. Guys, this is going to be very fun. You better buckle yourselves in because this is going to be fun. Right, wrong, or indifferent, wins, losses, you're going to have fun while you do this, while you're on this rocket ship with Lane Kiffin. Gorilla says, don't worry, Blake. I hit the like button. We in good old days, ain't we? You know, Lane brought that up a couple of days ago. Yeah, you very well could be. Guys, I listen, when Brian Kelly came in here, I came in here and said, listen, the one thing that I thought he would do is you'd be more physical, and you weren't. But BK didn't work like this. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. It's the truth. KM says, let's go from the 409. Yes, where is everybody watching from today? This morning. I don't like doing morning episodes, but nevertheless, we're here. Where is everybody listening to from us, or where is everybody listening today? 985, the 337, the 40, the 504, the 225, the 337, 318. Where are you listening from? Gorilla with a $2 super chat says, Baker's definitely a housewife. Yeah, if any of you are making the Ho t-shirts, HEAUX, let me know. I'll buy one from you. But it's a big day for keeping Blake Baker. Moist. He's back. Moist is back. And Chico became members on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I would anticipate that we're going to have some members-only content tomorrow coming out for you. But thank you for becoming members on the YouTube channel. Christopher with a $50 super chat says, listening from Bahrain, great to catch you live and be a Tiger. Well, first off, thank you for the $50 super chat. It is very, very awesome to be a Tiger right now. It is, guys, I feel like that we look at this place or we look at this situation and say, man, we're going to look back on this and a year from now and be like, dude, Lane came in here and just killed it. Lane came in here and absolutely killed it because he is killing. He is killing. To all 4,700 of you that are listening to us live, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the retweet if you're on Twitter too, by the way. No depression with it, but thank you for the $50 super chat. That's massive. It is a great day to be a Tiger. I'm glad you are catching us live. Somebody asked us why we didn't go live last night. Fridays, this has always been a thing with AYS. Fridays is family night. It's family day. I don't like going live on Fridays. I never have. I never will. Guys, I work Monday through Thursday, and Saturday, clearly, we cover all of college football. Sunday is recap from a national perspective on Rufino and Joe. Friday is the day that I try to sit there and take as much family time as I can. And when this news came out, I was literally laying next to my daughter who was asleep because, she doesn't look. She's a daddy's girl. She doesn't like when she's about to go to sleep and daddy's not there with her. I love my little girl, man. I do. So Saturdays are for or Fridays are for family night. So I apologize not being there. But actually, no, I don't. No Depression says Lane, Mariano, Rivera, Kiffin. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, he's closing. Mariano is the best closer in the ever. Yeah, he's closing a lot. Listen, it's one thing to sell your vision to recruits. Guys, he's not just selling his vision to recruits. Him and Billy Glasscock, your new GM, also selling it to head coaches. And listen, with a massive platform, Lane's out there pushing Edna Carr. I don't know if y'all saw the retweets and stuff like that, but he's pushing Edna Carr. You go to Bryce Brown and say, hey, man, we're going to put you on the map nationally here too. I was told by a couple of coaches, a couple of high school coaches that that Lane reached out to and was like, hey, man, we're taking this. We're going for the jugular. So either you're going to get on ship with it or you're not. Dead Cajun Dude, what's up, buddy? With a $5 super chat says, when Japan FAFO with, or I'm just going to leave it there this morning's show, with the U.S. and was like, crap, the same thing is happening right now with college football at LSU. Hashtag it's different. Hashtag go Tigers. Yeah, are you waking up a sleeping giant? All right. I just got a text. Hold on. Did we just get E-Rob over the finish line here? I don't know if he wants me to say that we say who just texted me. Let me make sure I'm reading the text correctly. All right. By the way, when this technically goes out, I know that they're tying up some loose ends on this. Let me say this too. And this is going to be sentimental, but it's the truth. Gus, I think you have one of the best media corps in all of the country, local media corps. And I'm going in non-specific order here. I think that what you've gotten, the level of content and the level of thought and opinion that you've gotten from your media corps here locally the last couple of days, the effort that everybody's put in has been fantastic. I think of Zach Nagy. I think of Bryce Kuhn. I think of Matthew Bruni. I think of Shea Dixon. I think of Preston Guy, Mike Scarborough. I think of myself. Yes, myself. I think of Koki Riley, Wilson Alexander of The Advocate, Glenn West. All of these guys have dominated this search. They have done an elite job. Listen, when all of this is over, guys, we have been away from our families for a month. Fiancés from a month. Wives from a month. Kids from a month. Just go tell them that you appreciate the work that they did. Go and tell them, because they have been very, very, very good. I am highly anticipating like an E-Rob thing going on. And guys, this isn't going to stop, because as soon as you start getting through all of this, guys, you go into Christmas, you get out of Christmas, rocket ship, here comes the portal, guys. Here comes the portal. And I do think that you're going to dominate it. But to guys, to all of the local media guys, and I'm leaving out people, I'm sure that I am. But those are the people that I pay attention to the most. Just being blunt with you. Those people, those media members have dominated this. They have, man. You got to give them a lot of credit. They have dominated this search. They continue to, and you got to give them a lot of credit because they've done a really, really, really good job. Shaquan with a $20 super chat says, when I see rivals or whoever posting where some kids are going, I have no idea why. In your opinion, is going to a school strictly for money more important than going somewhere where you can or could make the playoffs and compete? Look, man, the truth of the matter is dudes are going to be dudes. I've told you this before, like as an example, for me as a parent, money will always be a big deal. Okay, come here. Go on. Come here. Come on. All right, we're live. This is real. Like you're on YouTube right now. Say hello to everybody. Take that binky out. No one understands you with that binky in your mouth. Say hey. We don't have enough. Hold on. You all right? Did brother accidentally hit you with the phone? You okay? I could see the mark on your head. You all right? Hey, can I get a go Tigers?
Go Tigers!
Louder!
Go Tigers!
What do you think about Lane Kiffin?
Right.
Good. All right, you could come on here, but you ain't got a shirt on. You ain't got a shirt. You ain't got a shirt on. You can't come on here naked. All right, go see brother. You all right? You all right? Toughen up. You all right? Go. Watch it. Watch it. No, don't hit. Go. All right. Ben, hold on. Just take care of Joel for a second, okay? Oh, boy. Well, y'all just got to meet Jewel. That is my beautiful daughter, Jewel. I just got done talking about her. Daddy's girl. That's what happens when you don't lock the door, too. But, yeah, that's Jewel. Ben was going to come on here, but I'm not letting him come in here without a shirt on. In reference to money, speaking of kids, it's funny that super chat just came up. Like, there are coaches that if Ben Ruffino, my son, if Ben were ever to be blessed to be in that position, like there are some coaches right now that we're going to talk to mold him as a man. Like Fran Brown at Syracuse, we are talking to. Well, Blake, they suck. I get it. If he's blessed to talk to a guy like Kirby Smart, we're talking to Kirby Smart. Just put the shirt on. I'm almost done. Okay? Let Daddy finish. All right. But yeah, I think it's dumb. Dane Bergeron says, I am overjoyed that Blake Baker is staying at LSU. He will wind up with a much better job than Tulane if he wants to be a head coach. You know, we didn't talk about that. And listen, we didn't talk about, like, the decision of Blake Baker here. He very well could. He could propel himself like what Dave Aranda did, like, you know, winning a national title. Dave Aranda goes to Baylor. You know, it can happen. And listen, Lane and CAA can really push this. Like, hey, man, you given us your time. Now go be a head coach somewhere. And I'm sure that was a massive selling point for him. But yeah, I'm overjoyed that he's staying. He made guys, listen, Blake Baker made one of the biggest unselfish decisions that you can make. And because he could have been a head coach, and I'm sure he wants to be a head coach. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a head coach? So, yeah, it's a very unselfish decision. Royce Pierce with a $20 super chat says, do you think the portal will be crazy in January? I do, because I think you have way too much coaching movement for it not to be ridiculous. He also says, I think it may go over 4,000 players this year with all the coaching changes. Crazy time, but blessed. We have football, go Tigers, from Thibodaux, Louisiana. And Royce also gifted 10 AYS memberships on the YouTube channel. So 10 of you are going to be getting memberships because of Royce. So y'all tell Royce thank you inside the comments. In reference to your question, well, first off, thank you for the massive super chat, and thank you for gifting 10 people memberships on the YouTube channel. Number one, I agree. I believe that you are correct, Royce. I think it's going to be ridiculous. I think massive players like Cam Coleman's going to enter the portal. Potentially, I think the quarterback position is going to get crazy. And yeah, I do. I really, 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 really do think it's going to be crazy. And I think that you're going to dominate because, listen, you don't have a lot of data right now in reference to what LSU did this week. Let me say this. Okay? Because prepare yourself. LSU tried to flip some of the top targets in the country without really having a connection with those players. And the only reason that they almost flipped a couple of them was because of the ridiculous amount of money that they were throwing around. Let me prepare you for something. LSU got money right now. Like money. They throwing fat stacks of cash at people. It's just the truth. So when Lane came out there and said, listen, I asked Jimmy Sexton, who's got the best NIL situation? And he says, it's LSU. Guys, it's all right. People about to F around and find out. They're about to F around and find out. Shaquan with a $5 super chat says, so main portal needs 2 quarterbacks, a running back, also can use a couple of receivers, offensive line, linebacker, safety, and kicker. Ramos is gone, right? I don't know if you necessarily need a kicker. I think that Burrell could be really good. He's got a massive leg. But, yeah, you need as much as you can get. You definitely need offensive line. You need quarterback. I think you could use a bruising running back, a guy that can get you some tough yardage. You probably need a wide receiver or 2. Probably a tight end. You need a linebacker or 2, maybe, potentially. You need interior defensive linemen, some experience. I mean, you need a lot of things, man. You do. You're going to have to kill the portal here, and I think that you will. Shaquan with a $5 super chat says, we're so back, Baker back, and look what we just did on early signing day. Lane will for sure address the rest of the needs in the portal, without a doubt. I have no fear that he won't. Jocks with a $5 super chat says, can't figure out how to give memberships from my phone. It's making me feel old. So here's this. Go Tigers from Dallas with a $5 super chat. Thank you. All you got to do, hit the membership thing down below. Somebody might have to teach you. I'm going to give 20. That's what I'm going to do. Next couple of days, we're going to give 20 memberships on the YouTube channel. But thank you, Jock. Anything y'all do for us is greatly appreciated. Alexander with a $5 super chat says, wish Kiffin wasn't from the Saban tree. Wish Kiffin wasn't from the Saban tree, so you can get some fall camp scrimmage looks. Oh, okay. For those, Baker versus Kiffin practices will be crazy. It's a good point. I don't care. Like, listen, I know a lot of people in the media are going to hate not having, maybe other than 15 minutes of practice. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Guys, as long as you win, I don't ever have to go to another practice a day in my life. I don't have to go to another practice a day in my life. As long as you win, I don't give a flying Rudy poo. I do think that I'll say this, just not trying to be cocky or conceited. Boy, we hit on a lot of shit here. I mean, especially at Brian Kelly giving us practices and what happened at quarterback. Brian Penn says, off subject, Mike Scarborough reported on his show that Debo is trying to get out and coming to the real Death Valley. Mike's got a really good connection with Debo. Wouldn't surprise me. That kid can really play, man. It was a tragedy that he left. I would take him back in a heartbeat. He's one of the best linebackers in the country. He dominated at Auburn. Dominated. Joseph Riley with a $5 super chat says, Blake and Lane pulling the Jordan Belfort, I'm not leaving, I'm not effing leaving, hashtag go Tigers. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, listen, man, it's a big deal. It's a massive deal because you could have had a lot of shakeup on your defensive side of things. And listen, I'm not naive to think that if Blake Baker does this again, that there's not a head coaching opening that he doesn't go to. I'm not 1,000% sure that there's not another Power 4 head coaching job that doesn't come open once, there's a lot of smoke between Sark and the NFL. And they try, I forget who reported it, and they try to tell this girl she was wrong. Shit. Watch what the Titans are going to talk to Sark. Y'all book that. They're going to talk to Sark. Dane Bergeron with a $10 super chat says, I want to see some mean, nasty defenses again. I want teams to feel pain for 2 weeks after the game. I want them flipping tractor tires on the levee, running stadiums, and clearing out bathrooms again. yeah, your mentality's got to change. You got to really start dominating there. And look, a lot of the players have already met their new strength and conditioning coach and Nick Savage, and they're like, damn, dude. That also is going to be a night and day difference. Nick Savage is, I've asked a couple of people around. A lot of people think Nick Savage could be like the next Tommy Moffitt. I don't know the man, but he's made Ole Miss really physical. Guys, here's another truth. Ole Miss's offensive line is one of the more physical units in the SEC. Guys, they went into Georgia and pushed them around. They scored 35 straight points. You do that with Blake Baker defensively, you're going to win. And you're going to win a lot of games. A lot of games. Deborah became a member on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Deborah. I greatly appreciate you joining us. Stephen Trehan sends a $2 super chat, says, most excited I've been about LSU football ever. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. But what I would say is it's probably some of the most exciting shit that we've had since 2019 or when you beat Alabama in 2022. I was pretty excited about that too. Penn Jones with a $5 super chat says, need to cap off this great week with Kelly getting a head coaching job. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. But it would be very nice if he did. Be very, very nice. Trip Block with a $2 super chat says, Lane Train is working. I love it. Go Tigers. Yeah, he's working his rear end off, man. He's working his rear end off. Lucky Eastside became a member on the YouTube channel along with Chance Allen. Thank you both for becoming members on the YouTube channel. And Tiger Girl Keita gifted 10 memberships on the YouTube channel. Okay. Come on. Your shirt's inside out, by the way. Nuh-uh. Don't take it off now. Just come right here. Tell everybody hello.
Hello.
All right, I need you to say one thing. You gotta go back. Say "Go Tigers."
Go Tigers.
No. Give me a real "Go Tigers."
Go Tigers!
All right, go on. Your shirt's inside out, so when you walk out that door, take your shirt off and put it on right.
Okay.
Love you, buddy. Hey, go Tigers!
Go Tigers!
All right, that's too loud. All right. That's Ben. I just said I was telling everybody that who you were, buddy. Tiger Girl Keita, thank you so much for gifting 10 memberships. Yeah, we're gonna have some content out tomorrow. I think some things are gonna happen relatively soon, and we'll go in a little bit more depth. I think the members only content has been really awesome. But Tiger Girl, thank you so much. Jordan Jay Addison gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you gifting. So 11, actually, so 20, so 10, so 31 of y'all are going to now be members because of gifted memberships by a lot of people in here. So thank you all so much. Got a lot of people joining, man. We're going to get now close to probably 1,100, 1,200 members on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. Cal became a member on the YouTube channel as well. Thank you. Greatly appreciate it. We'll get some content out to you tomorrow. Aaron with a $2 super chat says, any word on the quarterback situation for next year? Not right now, Aaron, not officially. Like does Trinidad Chambliss, as an example, does he get a waiver, right? Like does Trinidad get that waiver? What does Austin Simmons do? And listen, let me just say this. There is a lot of smoke out there in reference to guys like Lenore Sellers. There's a lot of smoke out there in reference to a guy like Damon Williams out of Washington. There's a lot of smoke in reference to quarterbacks hitting the portal. I would expect like an Austin Simmons to hit the portal, and we'll see. We'll see. By the way, Ole Miss people are reporting that Pete Golding is looking at Jake Peets as his offensive coordinator. No, I'm almost done. Y'all go play. Jake Peets, man. Jake Peets. Joseph Riley with a $5 super chat says Blake pulled the Jordan Belfort. I'm not effing leaving. Go Tigers. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. It's a big deal, man. And I think, look, 1-2 years from now, we're going to be looking for a new defensive coordinator. You know, again, what if in 3 years Lane Kiffin wins a national title and the NFL comes calling and Blake Baker's still here? Right? I mean, guys, it could be your next head coach, ironically. Simper gifted another membership on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Justin, our good friends over at Service Hawk, go over to that damn dial up. Actually, my big finger did that. Pause. But our good friends over at Service Hawk, by our good friend Justin over at Service Hawk. Listen, if you run a HVAC electrical business, you're a generator pro, whatever you do, y'all need to go over to our good friends over at Service Hawk. Guys, I am in marketing. Basically, all that we do is marketing. There is no team better in the state of Louisiana than giving you a better marketing plan than our good friends over at Service Hawk. Listen to me. There is a reason why Justin and Lee and company continue to dominate the marketing space. Want to know why they're number one in the business? Because literally they're dominating for all of their clients. So if you're an HVAC, you run a business, you're a generator pro, all of that, go with our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media and Service Hawk Digital Marketing, where they soar above the competition. Justin, welcome aboard, my good friend. Glad that you're here with us. Trip Block also became a member along with Saints 504. Good to have you all in here with us. And Calvin became a member on the YouTube channel. Yeah, I know. My finger just hit it. Go Taylor 44 says Pat McAfee is so damn annoying. All these dudes who don't or haven't coached making Lane out to be the villain. Listen, man, I know that we had a viral clip that went off yesterday. Hey, man, Pat, you want to talk that shit, big dog? Talk your shit. I'm sorry, I know it's early in the morning, but he keeps running that trap. Then Lane, don't go on there, dog. Don't go on there. I will give Lane Kiffin all the space that he wants on this platform. Not that he needs it. Not that, I mean, clearly I would want him, but they talking shit. Keep running your mouth. You go up there and take your shirt off. Like, there's nothing special about taking your shirt off. Nothing. Running out on game day, taking your shirt off, there's nothing special about that. Keep that same energy when you and College Game Day come to Baton Rouge. And let me tell you something. To all of you LSU fans, when they come in here next year at College Game Day, boo that man. Because he's going to try to be all nice and sweet and all. Screw that shit. Where's that same energy? Oh, look, he thought he was going to get some softball questions. Well, it's on game day not to offer softball questions. Talk your shit now. That's the kind of shit and hypocritical shit that really pisses me off. Talk it now. Hey, wasn't McAfee's show presented by DraftKings and then they moved? So why did you move? Didn't you get a better deal? Weren't you going to a better place with our good friends over at FanDuel? I ain't about that life. I ain't about talk it now. 318 West Louisiana. That's a name. With a $2 super chat says 2019 is what I'm hopeful seeing. Go Tigers. You might not ever have that again. Those are the best team of all time. You more than likely will never have that again. Ever. All right, Eric Duplessis also became a member on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much. We greatly appreciate it. We'll get some content out to you tomorrow. Alex says Sam Levitt. Could be. Could. I whatever Lane wants to do. There's one thing in all of this process with Lane Kiffin that I'm not worried about, and that's quarterback. I'm never going to worry about quarterback. All right. Let's go have a day, man. We'll see y'all soon. Blake Baker stays. E-Rob. Looks like that's going to be near and two. We'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a good day. Peace.